and welcome to Eureka High School. This year we'll begin graduation by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. May I ask that you continue to rise and face the flag. On the north side of the track is Jordan Billings, who has joined the military, leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Gentlemen, please remove your mortars.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jordan. Well done. I'd now like to introduce Hannah Hahn, who will formally welcome you to the 2021 EHS graduation ceremony.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Eureka High School Class of 2021 graduation. I would like to start by thanking each and every one of you for attending today. Parents, families, and friends, you have countlessly supported us as we have grown and learned about the world around us. High school isn't easy and we've all figured that out, but without your guidance and support, we would not have made it this far. You undoubtedly donated your time, patience, and effort into making us better people. As each of us move on from our high school careers, we will still rely on your support and guidance as we take on our next adventure. To our teachers, faculty, and staff, thank you for believing in us and being so supportive throughout everything that has happened in the past year. Because of COVID-19, we were not able to have a normal school year. We had many things taken away and it wasn't the senior year we had been dreaming about. However, our teachers worked day and night to help us get through the year. They helped us make it as normal as possible by letting us have a few months of sports, prom, and graduation. You go out of your way to put a smile on every student's face. The effort you put into making our senior year as memorable as possible was amazing and greatly appreciated. To our families and friends, thank you for listening to our endless complaining over the past year. We may not have had the senior year that we had hoped for, but without your advice and constant pushing to do better, we would not have been able to get through this year. Even though we might not show it, we are grateful and blessed to have you in our lives. Parents, thank you for supporting us emotionally and financially for the past 18 years. Siblings, thank you for shoving us out of bed every morning. Without your help, we never would have made it to school on time. To my fellow classmates, as we sit here today reflecting on the past, don't forget you have a big future ahead of you. It was a pleasure to be able to grow and learn beside each and every one of you. Even though we didn't have the year we had hoped for, it was still one to remember. Thank you for the endless support and help you have given each other. I am beyond blessed to be able to graduate with these amazing students and call them all friends. Graduates, we have the opportunity to make a difference in our community and the world around us. As we go forth and become adults, we take a part of EHS with us. We leave hoping we left a positive impact on the younger students and EHS as a whole. Fellow graduates, congratulations on a job well done. You will do great things in the future, but remember, once a hornet, always a hornet. Thank you and welcome. I would now like to welcome Ryan Lucky to the podium to give the dedication speech.
I would like to start by thanking everyone for joining us today to celebrate our graduation. The class of 2021 would like to dedicate our graduation to all of the healthcare workers in our community and all over the country. In the past year, these people have given more to the community than we could have ever asked for, putting their safety at risk every day in order to keep us healthy. Even some of the people graduating today have been working in public health as a CNA, and they have put in many difficult hours over the last years as well. Would any doctors, nurses, CNAs, or any other healthcare professionals please stand to be recognized? Your hard work is the reason that we were able to attend school for the vast majority of our senior year and enjoy many of the things that we thought were lost. Please join me again in a round of applause for all these people and thank them for going above and beyond for us this past year. I would now like to welcome Nathaniel Leman and Allison Schrock to the podium to give the Memory Walk speech.
1,369 days ago, we walked in the doors of Eureka High School. We have always been talking about this day, graduation, since day one. Who knew it would have actually come so quick? Although the class of 21 had a strange, but rather interesting year, we will never forget the great times and memories that we have shared together over the years.
Across the street at Davenport, everyone can recall the annual Peter Rabbit play where Clayton Waller was Peter Rabbit and Toby Plattner was Mr. McGregor. Toby chased Clayton dressed in his rabbit costume all around the gym. Most of you may remember the Monarch Butterfly Parade. In Mrs. Bachman's class, J.C. Sword's caterpillars accidentally escaped their cage and formed chrysalises on the ceiling, and the entire class bursted out with laughter at the sight. Then third grade rolled around in time for the We Love America program. It was our first time holding hands with each other, and we realized that cooties may not actually be real. Every year, Jump Rope for Heart came to our school. Everyone remembers Connor Wiegand being the absolute stud of the grade and winning just about every jump roping contest. And no one could forget about the Hornet Buzz news team and when Ryan Lucky did the whole segment on the circus coming to town.
Then we had the rivalry between Congerville and Goodfield. These two schools had to do everything together. We all remember our Thanksgiving performance when we dressed like little pilgrims and Indians. Every year on May Day, Congerville held the Maypole performance. Obviously, the Goodfield kids tried to trip the Congerville kids. Congerville Grade School was always thrilled to hold their annual talent show. Everyone remembers when Kendra Goodman and Allison Schrock performed There's a Hole in My Bucket, with Kendra rocking away in her rocking chair and Allison dressed as the man holding the broken bucket. Over at Goodfield, the whole class remembers playing Boommakers with Mr. Walker. Every time Ben Hatchko and Mr. Walker would have a dispute, they began calling each other Mrs. Ben and Mrs. Walker. All the kids from the school were always thrilled to compete in the 3rd and 4th grade track meet. Mrs. Jablon's 4th grade class won the meet. At first, the trophy was given to the wrong class due to adding Mitchell Danner's points to the wrong class. Mrs. Jablon's students were heated, but once they were given the trophy, once the trophy was given into the winning hands, they all went crazy. Everyone ended up celebrating together with giant popsicles.
Fast forward to middle school, where some of us met each other for the first time. It all began with publishing our first book about our arthropods that we sculpted in Mrs. Worley's class. In the neighboring classroom, Mrs. Bishop's class remembers blaring "What Does the Fox Say?" while having a dance party on top of their desks. 6th grade was one of the most magical years. We traveled to medieval times, and it was a roller coaster of events. Lauren Gadboy had a fantastic day since she was the special lady to receive the rose from our night, but everyone can recall the bus accident on the way home. Yikes. Who could forget the movies we made in our Explorer class with Mr. Ware? Let's be honest, those were the most cringy videos we had ever seen, but they were hilarious. We were also Mr. Bear's first class. We always knew it was going to be a good day when we walked in and his room distinctly smelled of the famous Bean Boozled jelly beans. Moving across the school to 7th grade meant we were old enough for many new adventures. We could finally try out for school sports. Looking back, we all knew our class is insanely athletic and competitive in all areas. Finally, we were allowed to attend those super awkward dances. Us girls were so excited to dress up and take cute pictures pretending it was just like homecoming, but I don't think any of the guys actually wanted to go. Then came climbing the ceiling. We harnessed ourselves up and were sent to climb on. Many fears were faced during those couple of weeks in PE. During the 8th grade trip to Chicago, there were a couple incidents. To start off, the big group of boys went to the Nike store and accidentally left Jack White on the top floor while the rest of them made their way back to the beam. Everyone can also recall boarding the boat and wondering where Mrs. Selvey, Sam Bisholti, Morgan Blunier, Elena White, and Eve Yoder were. All of a sudden, they came running down the stairs as we were all screaming at them from the already moving boat. They ended up missing the boat tour. And every year, FCA held the Olympics night, and the Drunken Unicorns took the big dub. And who remembers our chorus class convincing Mr. Walker and letting us perform High School Musical? We will never forget putting in all the time and effort and memorizing the songs and choreography for our final performance.
High school came quick and went quick. It was one scary but exciting experience. Freshman year was the start to a lifelong friendships through classes, clubs, and sports. Us as freshmen were beyond excited to sit in the student section at games, especially football games, until we realized that we would have to be pushed to the very top of the bleachers at every home game night. We loved cheering on our football team during Friday night lights and watched them leave their heart outs on the field. Back inside the school, you were one lucky duck if you were in Mr. Glass's first hour geometry class. He always brought donuts, so a big thanks to you, Mr. Glass. As sophomores, Pre-Nation Superpower was all the hype of the year. Some may recall listening to Logan McKnight singing the entire Soviet Union anthem by himself during the presentations. Although Pre-Nation started many feuds, we were able to work together and conquer. Junior year rolled around, and before we knew it, we were considered upperclassmen. During homecoming that year, the Team Spirit squad, Mean Girls 2.0, strutted their stuff. Clayton Wall ran out in a miniskirt and pigtails. He proceeded to take out 2 cans of silly spray and spray it all over the crowd. To this day, there are still marks on the bleachers. Then all of a sudden, COVID hit out of nowhere, cutting our junior year short. But don't worry, Andrew Jablonski always kept us updated with the latest news about the virus in Mrs. Ferguson's college and career class.
And here we are, senior year, the most bizarre year of them all. Who would have ever thought that our entire senior year would be smack dab in the middle of a global pandemic? Besides all that, our class continued to make our last year a great one. Although we couldn't have a homecoming dance, we were still able to play class games and dress up. During class games, seniors crushed the competition with Colby Bluner scoring the winning field goal. The Spanish 4 class has a boatload of memories that they could share, especially the time when Juan White decided to try on Miss T's pink high heels during a fire drill. Just this past semester during B-Lunch, all the guys began a game they called Good Head. They put on a show for the rest of us in the gym as they hit the volleyball with their heads and dove across the gym just so the ball wouldn't hit the ground. Many of us were bummed that sports kept being pushed back, whether it was because you played the games, cheered from the crowd, streamed for Eureka Live, performed during halftime, or hyped everyone up with your music. We kept waiting patiently. Then the day finally came. We were allowed to play one final time. The girls' basketball JV and varsity teams' undefeated records went down in history this year with the leading help of our senior captains, Ellie Zimmerman and Erica Mangold. It was very strange to have football in the spring this year. Our theme this year was X the Knights, or X the whoever we were reversing that night. This class of football boys have been insane on the field, with Matt Martin crushing the all-time passing records and obtaining the highest all-purpose yardage in school history. Also, Spanky Leman blew the crowd away with setting the school record for kicking. Track and field is another sport our class crushed school records in. Every single relay record was broken with the help of Aiden Sears and Micah Sr. Although none of the fall and winter sports had a postseason, that did not stop anyone from giving their all. Our class has been setting state titles and school records since the start of 7th grade through all the hard work and dedication.
Everyone knew our senior year would go by fast, but no one knew it would go by in a Zoom. We missed out on many of our last, but it was certainly a year for many of our first. As you look at all the peers around you, you will never forget the countless memories that we all made together. And like Andy Bernard once said, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you actually left them.
We will now listen to the senior ensemble singing Time of Your Life.
Check 1. 1.
So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs that still frames in your mind and hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth it all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you have the time of your life.
When I was a child, my parents told me that I was headstrong. One of my younger memories is going out to dinner as a family. I didn't like the restaurant that had been chosen, so I stubbornly chose to stay in the car. It was a cold, wet fall day, and I knew that my parents would feel bad for me and would ultimately crack and come to the conclusion that they should eat where I wanted to eat. After a while, the car began to cool off and boredom began to set in. Remember, guys, this is pre-cell phones. However, after what seemed like a short time, my family reappeared from the restaurant, and I sat up, ready to receive their apology, and then to discuss where we were going to eat dinner. To my dismay, they shared that they had requested a window seat so that they could see the car, had hurriedly ordered dinner, and then hurriedly eaten it so they could make it back to me. That night, I went without dinner. Fast forward a few years, and I'm sitting at the family dinner room table. I'm not excited about what is being offered, and I'm sharing my displeasure by being sarcastic and refusing to touch the meal. My mom, out of frustration, took out a wooden spoon and tried to spank me with it. I was old enough that I was able to catch the spoon in mid-swing and break the handle, and my mom's frustration increased, and she stated, "You're going to pay for that." My response is I said, "I'm paying you to hit me?" That was not the response that she was hoping for. And again, I went without dinner that night, and some additional consequences. Fast forward a few more years, and I'm in college. A friend from high school contacted me and said, "Wouldn't it be fun to run a marathon?" And I thought to myself, sure, why not? We trained individually, but agreed that we would run together on race day. Technology-wise, our training was pre-GPS, so we did a lot of estimating. It turns out that none of my training runs were as long as I thought. My longest run was probably about 14 miles, when I was really going to race 26. My legs began to hurt at mile 10, and by mile 13, they were cramping uncontrollably. I managed to finish the race, but my time was over an hour slower than I anticipated. My friend finished even further back and chose to never run again, and I thought, that was terrible, but I could do better. I share these stories in an attempt to show how a character quality can be used for good or bad. In 2 instances, my desire to persevere, aka being strong-willed, was poorly used. I negatively affected those around me. In the last instance, my desire to persevere helped me develop a love for distance running that has stayed with me to this day. To our graduates, over the last 14 months, your perseverance has been tested. Events and activities that you were looking forward to did not always come to fruition, yet you persevered and found other ways to celebrate your successes. Spring sports in 2020 were canceled, and businesses were shuttered for months at a time. You organized pickup games at the local courts or at someone's house when the gyms were closed. You were informed that we would be wearing masks every day, all day long. Rather than have a fit, you began to choose your attire for the day so that it matched your mask. You were informed that you had to quarantine because of contact tracing, perhaps multiple times. And you said, okay, I guess I'll meet with my class online. You persevered. You were notified that the sports seasons were being upended and moved around, and you said, I'm thankful that we're going to have a season. During any one of those situations, you could have been headstrong and just said, I'm not doing that, and quit. Your character quality could have led to a negative outcome. However, you persevered and made each of your experiences as positive as possible. You were faced with a situation that was new to everyone, and you chose to persevere. You came to school each day with a smile hiding behind your mask. You continued your education despite many of you having to quarantine and learn from home. You practiced hard and saw tremendous success across all the areas of athletics, despite being faced with shortened seasons, masks, and no state series in some occasions. In fact, this spring, Alexi Fogo and Matt Martin won HOIC scholarships for academics and best male athlete. They persevered and represented EHS well in the HOIC. Via these tests, your class has shown me that you have the ability to persevere and overcome the obstacles that will befall you in life. My hope for you is that you will continue to develop perseverance coupled with empathy. I know that you will have many opportunities to grow as individuals in the weeks, months, and years to come. However, many of those opportunities are going to be disguised as challenges. Some of the largest challenges that I have faced in my life have helped me grow the most. My closing suggestion to you is, always remember to keep that smile on your face and perseverance in your soul. I'm proud of everything you've accomplished this year, and I'm certain that you will accomplish much more in the future. Congratulations to each of you. I would now like to welcome Barb Wirtz to the podium to present the Citizenship Awards.
Good afternoon. As this year's school representative for the Eureka American Legion Post 466, I am honored to present this year's Citizenship Awards. These awards are given to a boy and a girl in the graduating classes of elementary, middle, or high school, and even college. Those who receive the medal must exemplify 6 qualities that define character. They are courage, honor, leadership, patriotism, scholarship, and service. The EHS staff nominated and then voted as to whom best fit these 6 qualities. This year, the voting was very close. This year, both winners are both incredibly deserving of this honor and exemplify all of these qualities. Alexi Fogo and Ryan Lucky, please come get your award. I would ask that our honorary speakers now come to the podium.
The quote I'd like to dedicate today is by Sabrina Bryan. It reads, "You can do anything as long as you have the passion, the drive, the focus, and the support." I dedicate this quote to my family, specifically my parents, my friends, as well as the amazing staff and teachers that have helped me and pushed me these last 4 years. Without your continued support, there's no way I would be where I'm at right now. I would like now to introduce our next speaker, Rachel Churchman.
The quote that I would like to dedicate comes from the movie Cinderella. "Have courage and be kind, for where there is kindness, there is goodness, and where there is goodness, there is magic." I would like to dedicate this quote to my mother, who taught me that I should be kind and that there is magic in the simplest of things. I would now like to introduce Liliana Fair.
As Michael Josephson once said, "Take pride in how far you've come, have faith in how far you can go, but don't forget to enjoy the journey." I would like to dedicate this quote to the class of 2021. Despite this unpredictable year, I think it's safe to say that we've put up with it like champs. It's been a year of uncertainty, constantly wondering whether we'll see each other in the halls again, or play sports together for the last time, or dance the night away at prom, or even have a normal graduation. But underneath all that stress and worry for the future, we all can agree that we've learned several life lessons. We've learned to make the most out of the opportunities we've been given. We've learned to hold our heads high, and we've learned to be optimistic through every situation. Above all, we've learned to enjoy living in the moment instead of getting caught up with what's ahead of us. While our senior year is coming to an end, we are all heading our separate ways, whether that would be in college, starting a new job, or traveling. It's important that we remember to enjoy what's in front of us. It's not always an easy thing to do, especially when we're starting to become adults and everything new to us is being thrown at us in all sorts of ways. But we just have to remember to keep pushing through it like we have been, because it'll soon come naturally to us. I'm so proud that we finally made it to this checkpoint, because now we've got our whole lives to not only make more mistakes and learn from them, but to also remind ourselves to simply enjoy the ride. I wish all the 2021 graduates best of luck for this next chapter to come. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Alexi Fogo.
Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." I would like to dedicate this quote to my parents, who have been there for me in the highs and the lows. They've always reminded me to stay humble and remember that a setback is an opportunity to grow and return better than you were before. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you. I would now like to introduce Abigail Swanson.
The quote that I chose for today is, "It's not the load that weighs you down, it's the way that you carry it." This quote is from C.S. Lewis, and I'd like to dedicate it to my parents. My parents have been through a lot in their lives, and it definitely wasn't easy raising 4 kids at such a young age, but they have definitely put us first, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I love you, Mom and Dad. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Elena White.
Titus 2:7-8 says, "In everything, set them an example by doing what is good. In your teaching, show integrity, seriousness, and soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing bad to say about us." I would like to dedicate this verse to Mr. O'Hanlon. I've had the privilege of being his student my freshman, sophomore, and junior years. Through all the years I've had him, he's continued to exemplify grace and integrity in everything he does. Mr. O not only sets a great example for his students academically, but religiously as well. Although I was not in a class of his this past year, he visited my lunch table daily to check in. Some days he would share a never-ending string of jokes, others it was begging each of us to join the cross-country team. But on the most memorable days, he would share a Bible verse with us. We would think about it for a little bit, then discuss what we all thought it meant. It was a mini Bible study, in a sense, which made up for the lack of FCA meetings we were able to have. Mr. O'Hanlon has always been so much more than just a teacher to me. He's been a leader, helping me figure out anything from a topic for a speech to what professions and career options would fit me best. He's been supportive, writing recommendation letters as well as personal letters, left and right. And lastly, he's been a role model to me and many others. It's Mr. O I have to thank for being accepted into the ICC Honors Program, because I wouldn't have known about it if he hadn't recommended me. He's recommended me for numerous other scholarship opportunities as well, and nominated me for several awards, and always pushed me to do the best I can. I know that many would attest on his behalf that he would do anything and everything he could to help his students become successful in every way. To me, this shows that he himself is not only a successful teacher, but an incredibly successful leader, both academically and socially as well. As soon as I read this verse, I knew it was a perfect verse for Mr. O'Hanlon. He sets the perfect example of faith and goodness to those around him. In his teaching, he shows integrity, seriousness, when he's not cracking jokes, and soundness of speech. And he does it so profoundly that no one has a bad thing to say about him, just as is said in Titus 2, 7 and 8, in everything, set them an example by doing what is good. In your teaching, show integrity, seriousness, and soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing bad to say about us. Thank you, and I will now introduce Allison Wiegand.
Abraham Lincoln once said, "We are about as happy as we make up our minds to be." This reminds me of my grandmother, who is always finding something to be glad about even when times are tough. We can't all have what we want or what everyone else has, but the sooner we are content with what we have, the sooner we will be happy. My grandma has taught me to focus on things of greater value, and that is when we can find true joy in life. I would now like to ask Mr. Bardwell to come to the podium.
So for the last 15 minutes, I've been battling this bee that's been trying to sting me. And it just kind of reminds me, I just kind of been waiting to see if it was going to actually happen or not. And it kind of reminds me of this school year, just kind of waiting to see what was going to drop next. But I would like to thank all of you before I give my formal presentation, just for your support this year, for allowing us to get to the point to where we can gather here as a group. It's so rewarding to see what we've accomplished this year. And a big thank you goes to you guys. So I'd like for you guys to give them a round of applause for everything they've done to support us this year. Will the graduates please rise? The Eureka High School graduating class of 2021 has met the criteria for graduation of the state of Illinois and of the Board of Education of Community Unit School District 140, comprised of Congerville, Eureka, and Goodfield. Congratulations, graduates, for meeting all of the requirements for graduation. Let us all give the graduates a round of applause. Graduates, you may be seated. Michelle Monk and Carly Hartman, the co-senior class sponsors, will announce the graduates who will be graduating.
With the first row, please go ahead and come on down to the front of the bleachers. Amanda Jane Albertson.
Quentin Morgan Beckendorf.
Samantha Lee Barsakowski Fisher.
Dylan Tyler Bramlett.
Cameron Grace Bachman.
Jet Robert Glenn Bachman.
Julia Abigail Bean.
Sheldon Lucas Goovens.
Natasha Annalise Bernius.
Woo!
Josiah David Helberg.
Alexander Lee Wacker.
Tyler Jacob Toft.
Morgan Rose Blunier.
Burke Samuel Wetstein.
Caitlin Shay Bennell.
Garrett Michael Thomas.
Samantha K. Bischulte.
Andrew Kenyon Jablonski.
Sophia Corinne Gressner.
Bryson James Lee Wetzler.
Alexis Elizabeth Charlton.
Micah Rashawn Sr.
Danielle Rose Shiati.
Elijah John Scott.
Madison Kayleen Colburn.
Norman Eugene Mellies.
Nivelle Elaine Denham.
Chance Anthony Still.
Lindy Ann Dingledine.
David Anthony Garcia.
Liliana Pavlovna Fair.
Mason Reed Griner.
Lauren Paige Gadboy.
Cade Rustin Walder.
Azera Jamie Garvin.
Gavin Lance Knapp.
Kendra Marie Goodeman.
Silas Edward Cottrell.
Megan Deanne Harrison.
Hunter James Gladson.
Marissa Luann Herman.
Riley David Stam.
Emily Grace Karstens.
Eric Anthony Ames.
Raina Marie Kintz.
Logan Thomas McKnight.
Caitlin Elizabeth Knapp.
Connor Ryan McDonald.
Erica Marie Mangold.
Matthew Scott Martin.
Hannah McKinley Martin.
Trevin Douglas Carroll.
Kelsey Joy McClellan.
Jack Mitchell White.
Jenna Nicole Nielsen.
Colton Edward Carlson.
Emily Elizabeth Phillips.
Connor Bryant Wiegand.
Alexis Lynn Reed.
Caleb James Schoolcraft.
Lexi Ann Reese.
Logan Christopher Allen.
Danielle Elaine Rogers.
Braden Scott Piper.
Gracelyn Kayanne Sorensen.
Griffin Levi Punky.
Emma Joy Swanson.
Gabe Matthew Wiegand.
JC Reed Swords.
Thomas Peter Cahill.
Lindsay Noel Tanner.
Tyler Levi Snow.
Megan Brianne Ulrich.
Duke Remington Lane.
Hannah Sue Walder.
Toby Joseph Plattner.
Brianna Lynn May Wetzler.
Joseph Lee Reichard.
Allison Lynn Wiegand.
Corey John Getz.
Carly Aaron Wiegand.
Clayton Anthony Waller.
Madison Marie Wiles.
Luke Joshua Wells.
Brooke Ann Youngren.
Mitchell Elijah Danner.
Ellie Rayanne Zimmerman.
Colby Dean Blunier.
Jordan Lynn Billings.
Wesley Garrison Powell.
Brooke Danielle Bergen.
Luke David Zarvel.
Rachel Ann Churchman.
Brian Daniel Lucky.
Alexi Elise Fogo.
Aiden Wesley Sears.
Hannah May Hahn.
Connor Michael Merritt.
Hannah May Hetz.
Nathaniel Spanky David Leman.
Allison Renee Schrock.
Sawyer Stephen Wilcox.
Abigail Brooklyn Swanson.
Isaiah James Dillman.
Elena Grace White.
Joel William Rinkenberger.
Haley Madison Andrews.
Landon Robert Armstrong.
Abigail Jean Evans.
Alexandria Lee Lawrence.
And Benjamin Wu Hatchko.
Will the graduating class of 2021 please rise? I now have the pleasure of presenting to you the class of 2021. Congratulations, graduates.
I'm going red.